Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a time lapse for you today of my body paint that I did at the end of last month of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. This was the first ever cosplay style body paint that I did, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to do a little voiceover and kind of explain some of what I'm doing as we go along. So the first thing I did while doing this body paint is I went ahead and kind of marked out with an eyeliner the lines of her clothing and the lines of the stitching. I'm covering my eyebrows at this point, so what I'm doing is using some Elmer's glue, just the Elmer's glue stick in layers. So you use the glue stick, press down the eyebrow, let it dry, and then come back, powder, and then do it a couple times to press all the hairs down. Now the next thing I'm doing here, you see, is I'm laying down my base blue for her skin tone. This will get an additional coat. Obviously it's a little bit on the splotchy side right now. So I'm just using some basic paint brushes. Now the paints that I'm using in this are mostly water-based makeup paints. So now I'm going in and using a lighter blue to do some initial contouring on the face, and this is on a sponge. The water-based paints that I'm using are the Mayron Paradise, some of the Ben Nye, and Aqua Color paints. So yeah, it's a mix of all of them. I don't remember exactly which paint is which shade. But if you are desperate to know, just leave a comment down below and I'll look all that info up for you. So I'm just going in and, really covering, making sure that everything is covered. And then I'm going through and contouring using a lighter blue on a sponge. I apologize for the mirror being in the way through most of this. I'm going to make sure when I do my next body paint on Saturday that I don't block the camera with my mirror all the time during stream, especially when I'm doing my face. So hopefully the next time lapse will be a little bit better and you guys will actually get to see what I'm doing painting wise. Try and rig up my mirrors so we can easily see things better. So going through now and just, touching up the rest of the neck area and making sure we don't have all that splotchiness that the initial laydown was. Now I'm adding some more contouring on the collarbone, we've got a kitty, and the high point using a lighter blue. I will continue to do more contouring with other products as well beyond just the lighter blue paints. I took the path to try and contour with the paints first because I really wanted to try a technique that I hadn't tried before. So it was definitely a learning experience, but that's okay. And now I'm going in with a slightly darker blue and also contouring with it on a sponge. I've gone ahead and painted on a nose contour. A little sharp, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to soften everything up. At this point, I'm going through my pile of palettes that I have on the side there to decide what to use to finalize the contour with some eyeshadows. This will help soften it a lot and really get that final look that I'm going for. I believe I used the Blue Blood palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics to really finalize my contour, and I'm just using that with some eyeshadow brushes. And contouring is kind of really vital when you're doing paints that are not a natural skin tone, because you want to make sure that really create that definition, because paints that are not a natural skin tone can really flatten you out a lot. I kind of went ahead and started at least laying in my eyeshadow, and I'm also going through and kind of brightening up the blue a little bit. It was a little on the dark side for me, so actually taking some of the lighter blue from my eyeshadow palettes and just kind of overlaying it over the whole thing helped brighten it up and lighten the blue a little bit, but I kind of just had to work with what I got. Now we're going through and doing my eyeshadow look with the, I think it's the Blue Blood palette to create most of this. If you guys have any questions about anything, please leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer all of them. Laying down my eyeliner here, I'm all bent over, and some mascara, of course. I'm going ahead and putting on a lip, a pink berry kind of lip. And I'm using some of the darker eyeshadow here along the edge of where the clipping is going to be to create a shadow. And now I'm going ahead and laying in with that blue the lines for the stitching. So this is the breaks in the skin that are underneath of the stitching. At this point of the paint, I was sitting there with myself and debating as to if I wanted to put eyebrows on my face. Because Sally technically does not have eyebrows. She has very, very, very large eyes and no eyebrows. I believe at that point I was asking James his opinion. Eventually though, I did decide to go ahead and we're gonna throw in some eyebrows. So I went ahead and covered my eyebrows, but at the end of the day, I ended up drawing them back on with some pink. A pink and red paint to match the wig that I had. And honestly, this way, I may have covered the brows, but by having them covered, I was able to actually draw my brows on higher than they initially were on my face. So my natural brows sit much lower close to my eyes. Now I'm finishing up just laying in those blues for the stitching. Obviously, since this is a stream, I am talking to the camera at some point. Oh, there's a little shot of my food. Took a dinner break, and now we're going to continue working. So now I'm going ahead and using a black to paint on the stitching that is on the chest and neck area. A lot of people don't really notice, but I used the reference picture in the corner there of Sally. Her stitching is actually two different colors. So the stitching on the neck and body of her is black, while the stitching on her face is actually white. So we're gonna do that with my look as well. At this point, I'm going ahead and taking it the deeper blue again and just kind of putting some a little bit at the end of the stitches to create at least a little bit of an illusion of the stitch going, into a hole in the skin, essentially. So that's why I'm just putting some blue at the end of the stitches. Just adding some final dots in there, really, really emphasizing it. I think we move on to the highlights next. Yes, so what I'm doing is taking some white on a thin brush, and I am using that as a highlight on the stitches to give them some definition. Since they aren't, since it's not actually a physical item, I have to paint that definition. So using the white to kind of round out the stitches and give them some height, so they just don't look like black lines on the skin. There's Miss Leia came for a visit. Now I think we're gonna move on to the face, if I remember correctly. Yep, so now I'm using my white and going back over, and I am drawing that on and drawing those stitches on the face in white first. I think we're gonna wait to get some fresh water. Yeah, going to get some fresh water since we are using water-based paint. And I'm again going in with that darker blue at the edge of the stitches to help create the look of like they're going into this a little bit. At this point, you can really see the skin is starting to come together. And then I'm going back through and I am also adding a shadow on those stitches, like I added the highlight on the black ones down below to create some definition. I think at that point I posted to Instagram. And we run away and come back. And now it's time to start on the clothing. So I'm using a nice lilac paint here. I had to move it down and clean up some of the powder that was on my chest. And we're painting this on. This is another water-based paint. I'm pretty sure this is one of the Mayron Paradise ones I'm using specifically for the lilac and for the yellow. So I'm just putting down a base coat right now of all the different colors. And then of course we have the green there for the sleeve. And I'm not going all the way down the arms. I'm just doing approximately to the edge of where it is on my chest. That's as far as I'm going with this body paint. I just don't have the, didn't really have the time or stamina to get through and do more beyond this, especially as my first body paint. Now that we have the base coat down, I know at this point I am getting ready to go ahead and start doing some shading with some eyeshadow. There we go. I can't remember which palettes I used. I had a huge stack of palettes there for me, so I made sure I had every color that I was possibly could need throughout the process. But I'm using just a deeper purplish pink color here to create the illusion of some wrinkles and create some shading onto the shirt. A lot of the times when you see me going over, I'm trying to figure out which palette I want to use. Oh, and there I just throwing some highlight because I totally forgot to highlight my face earlier. And I'm just using eyeshadow brushes to create this shading. Then I'm going in with a lighter color to add some highlight. Since it is supposed to be clothing, you have to create some kind of definition beyond just the black color. And the next part here we see I am painting on the design that is on this section of clothing. Sally wears the swirls that she has. At this point, I believe I realized that I had not done that line at the correct angle because Sally's shirt is actually angled. It is not straight down the middle. So I went in and corrected that. Oh, just a little makeup wipe. So now I'm going in and using a darker pink color and a thin brush, painting on these swirls. So this is the water-based paint again to create this look. So I kind of used a lot of eyeshadows to create the shading and then the water-based paint to create anything that needed more definition after I had experimented on my face with using the water-based as contouring and highlighting. And then of course, on the areas where there is the wrinkles, I'm adjusting the paint look to and shifting it over the wrinkles to try to create some definition to them to make them look like they're a little more lifelike, because it would actually, affect the wrinkles really good. Here I'm throwing some white on the edge of the shirt as a little bit of a highlight to create a raw edge. Then I'm using some black again to do the stitching and highlighting it. Again, looking through eyeshadows, trying to figure out what to use. Here we're using an orange tone, and I'm using this to do the shading in the yellow. So it's important to at least have a little bit of understanding of like color theory when you're doing paint like this. Just keep that in mind. I'm going through and using a white to create some highlights. Another coat of green and kind of extending it down a little further, and with the yellow too, because I didn't paint it quite as far as it needs to initially. I'm using some paints too as well to create that definition between the two different fabrics. I'm using a darker green and white, and I think it's a lighter green or a lighter green and white to do the shading on it. And then again, going through and painting on the stitches with black. We got a fuzzy here. Say hi to everybody. She's like, nah, Ma, I just can't see what the hell you're doing, and possibly bump into your mic. And now I'm going through and adding the stripes on this side of the sleeve. I'm using a red, and again, as you see, when I paint over the implied wrinkles on the skin, I am changing the direction of it to look like the wrinkles are affecting the stripes. And then I'm using a black on the other side of the stripe. It's really hard to tell. The reference is all different as far as what exactly the stripes look like on that side. To me, they looked kind of on the black side, so that's what I went with. There we have our highlights, and we'll throw on the wig, and we'll be just about done. Alright, let's get this wig situated. It is a pretty cheap wig that I got off of Amazon, so it's not the greatest. But I'm going to go ahead and take a photo, but there you guys have it. That's the finished look and the finished time lapse of the makeup. If you guys have any questions about how I did the look, please leave a comment down below. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. I will post more time lapses of costumes. Or not costumes. Time lapses of body paints. Excuse me, I can words today. As I do them, I'm going to be doing about one a month. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and maybe it'll help you guys if you have a makeup that you want to do in the future. You can see some nicer photos of this over on my Instagram. Link for that is down below. And if you guys are interested in seeing this live, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. I do, like I said, once a month body paints, and our next one's coming up tomorrow, and we're doing Poison Ivy. So yeah, if you have questions, leave them below. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.